When you think of Penn State Altoona, a full library, finals crunch time, and even the ducks at the reflecting pond may be what comes to mind. But what will you discover when you venture beyond the classroom? Hi, I'm your host, Danielle Negri, and welcome to this Livewire special production presented by the Penn State Altoona Communications Program. We'll be talking with members of the Penn State community whose lives are anything but ordinary. Our first guest today was in the Army, has traveled the world, and has fallen out of a few airplanes. Please welcome Nate Taylor. Hi, Nate. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well, thank you. How are you doing?
Good. Thank you for being here.
Yeah, no problem.
Well, tell me what brings you here to Penn State Altoona.
I moved here from New Mexico, and I realized there were no jobs, in the area to actually sustain a family. So decided to come back to school, get an education.
And what are you studying here, and what do you plan to do after you graduate?
Communications is my major, and I'd like to work in radio.
Seems like it would be a good job for you.
Thank you.
What challenges do you face as an adult learner, since it's been a while since you've been in a traditional classroom setting?
Probably writing, the way we wrote in the military, the way college students are taught to write, two different things. So.
Well, tell me about your life before Penn State Altoona. I know you were in the military for a really, really long time.
Yeah, I finished high school and then I joined the military because there were no jobs back home, and just stayed in. Every time it came time to re-enlist, there was no jobs, so I just kept staying in, and wound up staying in 22 years and got out. So.
Oh, that's great. So in all that time, all those 22 years, you saw a lot of the world, a lot of different places. I mean, what was it like seeing that much outside of Pennsylvania?
It was an eye-opener. I've been to a lot of third world countries, so you see how much better the Americans live than they do in those countries, and how we take things for granted. Some of the stuff they don't even have running water or hot water, so you take things for granted. But it's
And of all those places, do you have a favorite, or do you have one that was really memorable to you that stands out?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Panama. I was there for 8 years, and I loved it. It was like the Wild West, not minus the guns.
No cowboys or anything.
Yeah, no cowboys and stuff like that. But if you wanted to go out fishing, you could go out fishing. If you wanted to catch lobster, you could catch lobster, catch shark, catch whatever you wanted, and didn't need a fishing license. So.
Did you ever catch a shark?
No, but we caught barracuda, grouper, tarpon, no piranha, peacock bass. So.
Wow, that's a lot of different fish. Well, the highlight of your military career wasn't just traveling. Before you came on the show, we talked about rappelling, spies, and airborne ops training.
Yes.
And I believe we do have some photos of that training. But if you were to describe any of these to a civilian, what goes into something like this?
And the spies, pretty much what SPY stands for is a Special Patrol Infiltration Exfiltration System. And the way it's used is, here's the best example I can give. We went down to Honduras to train the Honduran army on drug interdiction missions. And because you can't jump into the jungle, your chutes will get tangled in the foliage. You rappel into the jungle. They'll go wherever the drugs are. They'll destroy it. Then the aircraft will come. It'll hover over. They'll kick out the rope. You hook it into a harness, and then they just snatch you straight out of the jungle to get you back to wherever you came from.
Wow. Did it ever get old to you doing those training exercises?
No, it was always fun.
No. How many do you think you're a part of?
Probably one a year for 4 years.
Okay.
So.
Well, whenever you first started out in the military, did you ever feel any fear or anxiety, and how did it change for you by the time your 22 years came to an end?
I don't think the first time we ever jumped off the 35-foot tower at jump school, it was a little scary because, they tell you stories, oh, you're going to hit the ground, and so you're kind of, the pucker factor's a little high, but once you do it once, it's like, they're lying, I'm not going to hit the ground, and after that, it wasn't bad.
So by the end of it, you felt like a pro?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Well, as exciting as that was for you, do you keep up much excitement now, or do you kind of have more of a slow pace?
No, the military is like a meat grinder. It tears you up. So now all I pretty much do is physically I can still do push-ups, sit-ups, but I can't run, so I ride a bicycle. So I try not to be too crazy because I usually wind up getting hurt. So
Well, do you miss being in the military at all?
I miss moving, seeing different things. I've been here 5 years, and that's probably the max I've ever been in one place. So
Wow.
I kind of get antsy, going, maybe it's time to leave. I don't know, but
Well, what was the biggest lesson that you learned in the military?
that's a hard one. I don't know. That's a tough one.
Yeah, too many to.
Yeah, too many to pinpoint
Yeah.
one. My wife says I probably didn't learn any, but
Well, if you're talking to someone who's considering going to college, whether it's someone who just came out of the military or someone who just hasn't gotten a secondary education yet, what kind of encouragement would you give them if you could relate it to your own choice to go back to college? What would you tell them?
I would definitely recommend it because you know it gives you more opportunities, you know, from what you learned in the military or what you learned in high school, and with those opportunities, it's going to give you better opportunities for jobs.
That's
So,
true. That
I
is
mean,
true.
there's minimum wage jobs all over Altoona, but you can't survive on a minimum wage job.
Yeah, that's the sad truth today. So, what's harder, college or the Army?
I would say the military is a little harder physically. Mentally, everything's taught at 8th grade level. So,
Really?
Oh yeah. College, yeah, probably the writing. That's the hardest for me. We would, if you were gonna like do a spies mission, we had a 5-page or a 5-paragraph op order, and that 5-paragraph covered everything you did. Where in college, you know, they want you to write a 5-page paper on a cup of water. That's a little tough. So.
Well, what has been your favorite experience at college so far?
Meeting people. I love, as you guys know, I talk to anybody. And if you have the time, I'll tell you every story I have from the military, but I love meeting people. It's fun meeting different people from all over the U.S. or even Pennsylvania.
That's great. Do you apply anything that you did learn in the military to your college experience?
Not really.
Not really.
No.
Completely different things.
Yeah.
What was I going to ask you next? Oh, do you have a reason why you chose the Army as opposed to the Marines, Air Force, or Navy?
It's kind of a funny story. I first went to the Marines, and I took the test to go in the Marines. Well, I scored so high, they said, well, you're going to be like an office person. I didn't want that. So then I thought,
doing that.
yeah, I thought, well, I'll go to the Air Force. And they said I was too dumb. So I went to the Army. And
It
I
worked
wound
out
up,
for you.
in engineers, which we get to blow things up and build things. So
That's always fun.
That was a payoff on that one.
Yeah.
So.
Why didn't you choose to do engineering here at Penn State?
I started out in engineering, but I kind
Oh.
of burned myself out, took too many classes, and so I took a year and a half off and changed my major.
Yeah. Well, COM is definitely a great program to be in.
Absolutely.
And I think the radio would be a great opportunity for you. I mean, like you said, you're always telling stories and you're really relatable, and a lot of people like you, and you know, you have a great voice for
Oh, thank
radio as
you.
well. So you should definitely get into it.
Try.
All right. Well, thank you again for being here. We wish you a lot of luck in your academic career, as much luck as you had in your 22 years in the military, and thank you for your service.
No, thank you.
So you have a great day.
You too.
Well, thank you. When we come back, we'll catch up with a student who is wrapping up her college experience with a double major.
The United Way of Blair County works with local organizations to help people of all ages. The Gloria Gates Memorial Foundation supplies a safety net for the children in our community. Their after-school program provides a safe place where the kids can build social and life skills.
I've seen kids who were sort of introverted and reserved come out of their shell and talk more, share more with the community.
This positive environment promotes learning that keeps kids out of trouble.
We've had the opportunity to be a part of children's lives, some of them for many, many years.
With your help, the United Way can make a difference right here in Blair County.
We're all in it to help each other. So by helping us, we're able to help others, and we're all living united.
Give, advocate, volunteer, support the United Way. For more information, visit unitedwayofblaircounty.org.
back to Beyond the Classroom. I'm Danielle Negri. Our next guest is a student who has worn many hats in her past 4 years at Penn State Altoona. Taking on several leadership roles around campus, she's truly gone above and beyond the classroom. Please join me in welcoming Megan Reiner. Hi, Megan. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me.
How are you doing today?
Pretty good. How are you?
I'm good.
Good.
So before we went to the break, I mentioned that you have a double major. Could you
Yes.
tell me what those are?
I'm majoring in communications and integrative arts, which is kind of a pick different art forms and combine them together to make a major. My primary focus is in theater, and my secondary focus is in creative writing and art.
Wow, that's great. Well, today, like I said, we're going to talk about some of your leadership roles. First of all, you are the managing editor of Livewire, which is our online multimedia magazine here at Penn State Altoona, and also the producer of the show, I believe. So tell me about those responsibilities.
As managing editor, I am in charge of managing all the other editors and making sure they're getting their content, and if they need any help with uploading anything to Fugu, then I'm helping with that.
And what is Fugu?
Fugu is I don't exactly quite know what Fugu is, to be honest. I just know how to use it. Basically, it's how we upload stuff, and then our webmaster, Monica, can take it from there and upload it to the internet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And is everything in Livewire all online? Is there anything that you do outside of the internet, or is it just all on the website?
Livewire is all online, but it's communication outside, too, because we have to get in contact with the people to get their content and stuff.
All right. Well, you're also the president of Lionwire, the broadcast club, which is different from Livewire. I just want to point that out.
Thank you. Everyone gets those confused.
Yeah,
They're
all the time.
completely different.
What has that been like for you? And is there any similarities or differences when you're working with both of those kind of organizations?
It's actually been a really great experience. We've had a really good semester this semester. I was a little worried because last semester we had 5 members, 5 very dedicated members. We had to do all the packages, and running a show is just really difficult with 5 people. So we really promoted ourselves, and this semester we ended up with, I think, like 12 people, which was fantastic, and we ended up doing some of the best shows, and people really learned a lot. I also learned a lot, too, with like helping people and managing like time, and I really enjoyed teaching the people how to use the different programs that we use. That was fantastic.
And
It's
are
a
a
good
lot
experience.
of the people in these programs, are they like freshmen, sophomores, or are they more upperclassmen?
Most of them were sophomores, but we're going to be losing them because they're going up to University Park, which is kind of a bummer, but we did have one freshman who was like really, really dedicated, and she was fantastic, so she's going to be back next year, so I'm really glad.
That's nice. That's nice. Well, so far we have 2 leadership roles that you're a part of, so we need to keep a running tab here. We need like a little counting meter in the corner. But you are also the secretary and treasurer of Lambda Pi Eta, which is our Communications Honor Society. And on top of that, this semester you were one of the assistant directors for the spring production, Spring Awakening, which was at the beginning of this month or at the end of last month?
It was the beginning of April, yes.
Okay. And what was that experience like for you? Have you ever done anything like that before?
It was actually a really good experience. I took a directing course in the fall, and we just directed a small like scene from a play that we enjoyed. So it was really cool to like take what we learned in the classroom and actually apply it to a real life setting. And I learned a lot. It was fantastic working with everyone. It was just a really good experience. It was a good show. Hope everyone saw it.
Yeah, I didn't get to see it, but I heard it was a great,
Yeah, it was
great
fabulous.
show. So at Penn State Altoona, there's a lot of different opportunities for students to have leadership roles, get involved in clubs and organizations. But how have you found yourself in so many different leadership roles?
I couldn't even tell you. Like, they kind of happen. People would just be like, hey, you want to do this? Like, sure. And like, a lot of times, like, I asked to like be assistant director for Spring Awakening, and Bryce was like, sure. So, I mean, it was cool. Like, I guess you kind of just got to ask sometimes, because the worst people can say is no, right?
Yeah.
And other times, like, things just fall into your lap. I mean, I'm kind of everywhere all the time, so everyone's just like, oh, hey, and then it just works.
Yeah. Well, when you're not on campus, you're also holding down 2 part-time jobs. I mean, like, how do you find time to sleep?
I actually sleep like 6 hours a night, like 6 to 8. So
Well, that's more than I
don't know
thought
where-
you'd get.
Maybe I have more time in a day than most people do. I don't know. But yeah, I do sleep well usually, unless there's like a project. Like I was working on a project last week, and I slept like an hour. Like it was like I was in Pine Lab for like 15 hours or something like that. It was a long time.
Do you
But
find yourself drinking a lot of coffee to keep you going?
no, I don't like coffee.
Oh, wow.
No, I like iced tea though. So
Oh,
I guess
there
the
you go.
caffeine's the same thing.
Yeah, there you go. Well, I do want to point out that the typical credit requirement for graduation is 123 credits. Megan, you're graduating with 149 credits and a 3.92 GPA to boot. How do you manage to juggle all the schoolwork and different extracurricular activities and still manage to have such a high academic success?
I don't want to sound cocky or brag or anything, but
no, go ahead.
School is really easy for me. I don't know, especially the communications and the theater and art and stuff. I love it. So doing it, it's not work for me. It's just playtime. So really, it's not really a big deal. And so I just find myself doing everything, and then it just. I don't know.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, so it's not hard for me. So it's just it's easy to.
naturally.
Exactly. So just I don't know. It's just there, and
That's great.
Just do it.
Well, when you are getting past all this work, which isn't really work for Megan, you do have a passion, and word around campus is that you are quite the artist. What role has it played for you in your life?
Art?
Yes.
Art's everywhere. I really enjoy it. It's kind of an escape for me also. Some people have told me that I put up a really good exterior, and the only way you can get to know me is through my art, which is I find very interesting. But I write plays, and I draw and paint and stuff. So I mean, that's kind of an escape from reality, just to be able to sit back and create something and put so much of myself, I guess, into that. It's just an escape.
Well, let's take a look at some of the artwork and other projects that you've done here. I think we have them playing here, maybe? All right. Well, it's getting to the end of the spring semester, and a lot of students, we experience senioritis, and that, for those of you who don't know, we kind of slack off. We, don't go to as many classes as we should. Do you really have any time for any senioritis?
Oh my gosh, my entire senior year has been senioritis.
Has it really?
Yes. I used to really enjoy putting a lot of time and effort into things, and I would spend a lot of my time just working on stupid projects just to learn programs and just for fun and stuff. Well, lately I don't do that. I just kind of sit around, I'll be on Pinterest all the time. I'm just I'm done. I want to get out. I'm done. So senioritis is a real thing. Yeah.
Wow.
It's tough.
What do you hope to do once you graduate in the upcoming month?
I don't even know. I want to do it all. I have so many different interests. I just want to try it all. I can't imagine staying at one job for a long time. I'd like to be Ellen, as everyone who knows me know. I'd love to be a talk show host. But I also wouldn't mind being on a cruise ship doing entertainment. I mean, it's really varies. I really don't mind.
So you don't want to stay in Pennsylvania?
No, definitely not. I'm getting out of Pennsylvania as soon
Where
as
would you, well, if you could choose, what state or even country would you want to be in?
I don't have a preference, just not in Pennsylvania anymore.
Anywhere
Maybe
but here.
Anywhere warm. I'm tired of the cold. I can't handle that anymore.
Well, as a seasoned college student, what advice do you have to bright minds that are just beginning their college experiences?
Well, that's a good question. Just really enjoy these 4 years, because they go by so quickly. I was just thinking the other day, I remember being a freshman, it was yesterday. But you'll meet a lot of wonderful people, have some great experiences, take advantage of every opportunity you're given, and just make the best of it. It's a good 4 years, so.
All right. Well, thank you for being
very
here.
much.
You're definitely an inspiration to not only future students, but any student, especially myself. I can't complain the next time I'm stressed about finals. But we wish you a lot of luck after
you.
graduation, but you're probably not going to need it, let's be honest.
Thanks.
All right, when we come back, we'll be talking with Penn State Altoona's own personal rock star.
Open on you play that day, and take ready. And take number 2. Raise in the feet. And take it. 3 and 5, 4, 3, 2, and take. For over 100 years, the Hollidaysburg YMCA has been providing opportunities for youth, adults, and families.
I don't know why anybody else goes elsewhere, to tell you the truth, because there's such a unity here.
I've been able to make friends all through the years that I've been here, and I guess that's
what creates the passion.
Welcome back to Beyond the Classroom. I'm Danielle Negri. That was just a clip of some of staff member Chris Lawson's music. But before we talk about your music, Chris, I want to talk about what you do here at Penn State Altoona. What is your technical occupation name?
My actual occupation name is I'm an IT consultant for the communications program and also an IT support specialist. So basically, I run the communications lab facility. I've also taken on most of the Mac labs on campus. And I provide emergency IT and AV support for our downtown campuses.
Well, that's definitely true, because you're a really busy guy, and everyone in the comm program sees you as a huge help when it comes to different tech problems and equipment issues. So tell me, what goes into your typical day at work?
That varies. I mean, usually it's getting called somewhere or another and trying to figure out an issue. A lot of problem solving. This time of year, coming into summer, I'll be starting to swap out labs and build images, Mac images, and start testing and make sure all of our software works for you guys when you come back next fall.
Oh, that's nice of you to do that for us. But on top of all of that, you're in at least one band, correct?
I'm currently playing in two bands. Nobody's Heroes, which is my prime band. It's kind of like if you took punk rock and fused it with bluegrass or Americana music, that's Nobody's Heroes. The other band is a band called Stereo Frenzy. It's pretty much a straight up punk rock band.
All right. How long have you been with those two bands?
Nobody's Heroes, it's been about 2 years now since I joined. They've been around for about 3 years. They just kind of started playing out and then brought me into the mix. And we've rotated a few members, but we actually have the lineup that we're sticking with for hopefully quite some time.
All right. Well, before you were playing in any of those bands, what got you interested in music, and how long has it been a part of your life?
To be honest, I've probably been in and out of bands since I was 16. Granted, I might not have been very good at that time period. I really didn't start taking it serious until I was maybe around 22. So, I mean, there's a gap between 16 to 22 that, I'd maybe pull a bass out from underneath the bed, be in a band for a couple months, play it, then it would just go back underneath the bed. About 22, I've been sticking with it straight through to where I'm at today. I've had the opportunity to play in, a lot of pretty good bands with a lot of talented people, so I feel very gracious.
Yeah. So music has been in your life for a really long time.
It has. Basically, my dad was doing lights and audio for bands, so I mean, I grew up behind the scenes. We always had musicians in and out of the house. I mean, his best friends were musicians. I actually started playing tuba in middle school and learned how to play bass clef, and I mean, you can't play rock and roll with a tuba, so I took my knowledge. Took my knowledge of bass clef and just transferred it to bass. My dad wanted to be a bass player. He bought a bass, had it sitting in the house, but he just never got around to it. So once I showed that interest, he gave me his, and that was my first bass. And actually, I still have that thing. It's in pieces in his workshop because I started rebuilding it and then moved into some other projects, and I never actually wrapped that one up.
Well, do you have any specific influences?
That's a tough question for me because there's so much good music out there. I'm one that I don't really pick a favorite. So the list of influences could just go on and on. I don't know if we actually have enough time to actually cover that. Just any good music really is a big influence for me. So.
Yeah. Well, when you're playing live, that must be really exciting. Do you still get stage fright after all these years of performing?
Absolutely. Unfortunately, there's this thing called liquid courage. We usually have a couple beers before you get on stage.
Helps
That helps
you out.
calm the nerves. It's definitely a lot easier than public speaking or anything like that because you do have other members up there. Anymore, I play the big upright bass. So, I mean, that's something I can almost hide behind. But yeah, I still get stage fright to this day.
Well, looking back then, out of all of your performances, which was the most nerve-wracking and what was it like for you?
For me, I'd have to say that was our first show on the Brian Setzer tour. We played the House of Blues in Atlantic City. I had never played a venue that large. It was insane. I was actually totally calm until I peeked out the curtain and saw a packed house, and then the nerves just kicked in. I couldn't talk. That was the first time that I got the opportunity to meet Brian Setzer. He came up, shook my hand to talk to me. And this is a guy that I had looked up to for many, many years. I mean, he's a top performer, great musician, and just a super guy. I mean, somebody who's, at his level to be as modest and cool as he was quite an experience for me. But I couldn't even talk to the guy. I was so nervous. Like, basically, I was
You needed some liquid courage then.
I did need liquid courage. But we got out there. We started playing the first song. It was a little rough, and then I looked out and I saw people singing along to our music that had really never seen us before, and showmanship took over. So
That's great. Is that the only time you've been at the House of Blues or anywhere like that?
that is the only time, but that's not as far as like that. No, I mean, we did a tour up and down the East Coast and West Coast with Brian Setzer, and then the Marauders did some other touring. We played some other venues comparable to that size.
And the Marauders is a band you used to be in.
Yes, that was pretty much kind of my claim to fame. That was a rockabilly trio. We actually started out as a 7-piece, and by the end stripped it down to 3. And I mean, I toured the country with those guys. I was doing that while I was actually a student at Penn State Altoona. So basically, every Friday through Sunday, school was over, we were in the van. I'd take a laptop and a power adapter, and I'd be doing my homework in between shows. And that's basically how I lived throughout the entire college career.
Well, is the bandmate who had the experience with the dog in the Marauders, or tell me about that story?
Yeah, he's in the Marauders. He is also actually our newest addition to Nobody's Heroes. He's playing a stand-up drum kit. And basically what happened there, we were playing a show down in Virginia. Went to an after party. He went to pet a Rottweiler. Next thing you know, his bottom lip is laying on the floor. And he looks up to me and asks how if it looks okay. And he had his mouth closed, and I could still see his gums and teeth. And I was like, no. So we had to rush him to the hospital, and they sewed his lip back on.
Wow. Well, it sounds like you had a crazy experience. But we want to thank you for being here with us.
Absolutely.
Again, you're such a great help for all of us. But before you go, do you have any words of wisdom for any student musicians?
Stick at it. Keep playing, and make sure it's always fun. Like, once it's not fun, then it's not really worth the time, I'd say.
All right. Well, today we've talked to different students and staff members who are a little bit more than average today, and they've shown us that when you're on our campus, if you look a little harder, you'll always find something more beyond the classroom. Visit the address below to see other student projects from Livewire. I'm Danielle Negri. Thanks for watching.